most of us think compulsively all the time. That is to say, we talk to ourselves. If I talk all the time, I don't hear what anyone else has to say. If I think all the time, that is to say, if I talk to myself all the time, I don't have anything to think about except thoughts. And therefore, I'm living entirely in the world of symbols. Therefore, if you meditate for an ulterior motive, that is to say, to improve your mind, to improve your character, to be more efficient in life, you've got your eye on the future and you are not meditating. Well, meditation, when correctly done, has nothing to do with all that. It's a kind of digging the present. It's a kind of grooving with the eternal now. The place where it's at is simply here and now. If you simply close your eyes and allow yourself to hear all the sounds that are going on around you, just listen to the general hum and buzz of the world as if you were listening to music. Don't try to identify the sounds you hear. Don't put names on them. Simply allow them to play with your eardrums. It's all just sound. And if I am talking to you right now when you're doing this, don't try to make any sense out of what I'm saying, because your brain will take care of that automatically. You don't have to try to understand everything. As you hear sounds coming up in your head, thoughts, you simply listen to them as part of the general noise going on, just as you would be listening to the sound of my voice, or just as you would be listening to cars going by, or to birds chattering outside the window. So look at your own thoughts as just noises. And soon you will find that the so-called outside world and the so-called inside world come together. They are a happening. Your thoughts are a happening, just like the sounds going on outside. And everything is simply a happening, and all you're doing is watching it. It's all just sound. The place where it's at is simply here and now.
What is going on today, guys? Evan Aldo here. Welcome back. Really fun time in the markets with the kind of the recovery here. These are the trades I have in right now. I'll start by talking about these trades. These ones are in on FAIRDESK, so still letting the Bitcoin short kind of run its course a bit. But the new one, and this was a trade I gave in advance in the Aldo Empire VIP Discord. This ETH long, which did really well, and the exchange is still paying me to take this, so I'm happy with this. This is another one I gave this setup for, not an official entry, but I gave this setup for on this one on Bitcoin. I didn't take profit yet on this Bitcoin long. I'm looking for 69K. I don't know if we'll get there, but the funding rate's pretty negative, so I think we got a good shot of potentially getting there, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So yeah, that's what we got right there. And let me get up trading view so we can do a little bit of TA here. Maybe make this a little bit, I don't know, was not what I wanted right there. So yeah, we got these in, and yeah, and let's get into a little bit of the analysis here. What's up, Will Charles? What's up, Wonderbar? So yeah, ultimately, I think it's pretty good sign. We're above VWAP. I think that the money flow could bring us up a little bit more. I would argue probably the first place we could reject from is a little bit higher than where we are right now, or technically right now, just because you're hitting those wicks kind of. However, it does look good with the money flow, like we could continue and potentially break upward out of this, I guess somewhat of a reverse head and shoulder type situation, getting up to around that 69K area, which would be really cool. And then if you could break above there, then you're looking at potentially 70K again. I don't know if we're going to get that high. I mean, my main kind of guess here for a while was based on, this high anchor wave on the 2-week that we'd come down a bit more from it all. But definitely got to see here. Definitely got to see what'll happen. I mean, I was thinking about more. I mean, as you guys know, I do think that, if TradFi does go down, and oil does go down, a lot of commodities go down, which it looks like they might on the charts, then it would give the Fed a reason to pivot a little bit earlier, potentially, in July rather than September or October, something of that nature. What would happen to Bitcoin in that situation would probably come down as well. That's that scenario. The other scenario is everything keeps going higher and the Fed just waits to pivot until after the election, kind of, which would, I don't know, that would kind of have the same outcome. Maybe that would be the best, outlook for Biden. I don't know, but we definitely got to see here. I still think based on a lot of these larger time frames that you may have more downside. You are looking decent on the 2-day. So the 2-day trigger wave, obviously the last one was insane. If it plays out even like half of or a quarter of what that one was, you're looking at 80K, potentially new all-time highs. However, it could be more of a sell signal. Maybe you come up to that 69K and you just reject and get a, red dot after that. Your money flow is coming down now. It may not play out like the last one. Definitely may not. So that's what we got to be careful with here. Now, like I mentioned, short term does look good. It looks very good. I mean, I'm in, this Bitcoin long right here. I think we got a good shot at 69K. That's what I'm hoping for, just to make a couple more Satoshis there. So, and by the way, if you guys are interested in trading, FAIRDESK is no KYC. Bybit, there is KYC. I would say the best exchange that requires KYC is probably Bybit, highest liquidity exchange. They've been around for a while. It's an OG exchange. One I've been getting back into. You guys know you guys probably know the way to do it, the way to get back into it with the KYC. I'm not going to talk about it too much here, but you guys may know. You may be familiar with that. I think it's a good idea, and I think eventually all the exchanges are going to start to require KYC. But if you don't need it, or if you don't want a KYC, FAIRDESK would be the place to go. And if you guys want one free month in the Aldo Empire, a VIP Discord where I posted a lot of these trades in advance, really good community. Link in description below. If you want one free month, if you sign up to any of the exchanges down below, deposit at least $100. Use my link and open support ticket in the Discord. I'll give you one free month there. Just put in your UID and what exchange you signed up for. So yeah, you guys always appreciate the likes. And I'm asking you to do a lot of stuff, but yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at here. So we are jumping up a bit more, and so if we look at Ethereum, and obviously hidden bull div on the 2-day, I mean, that could be, that could be something that brings you up higher. That could be something that gives you some more relief here. Now, the big place, I hit my first take profit for my long right around here. This would be probably, especially on Ethereum, the first place that we may reject. You're having a 3-hour bear div, gap to RSI is coming down. Now, this could be, I don't know if I want to take this. I'm in too many trades. I'm in a lot of trades already. But, I mean, yeah, that would be a scalp kind of. You want to scalp down, you get a 1-to-1 right there, something like that. Or you want to be a little bit more, do it above those wicks, and then you could, it's still a 1-to-1 down to like around those areas. That may be a better situation there. And it would get more bearish if you lose that VWAP. It does look like, yeah, hard to say. I mean, you're holding VWAP right now. I don't know if I would enter the trade at the moment. The other thing too, guys, I mean, you do have the hidden bull div. it's a question of, how much is that able to play out? Now, that money flow is directed downward. What if you just, after you confirm that, you come down farther, into May or June? That's what I'm looking at for a potential bottom. May or June, down to 2,600, down to potentially 2,400, those areas, those potential areas, especially if the S&P 500 keeps kind of coming down here. Now, I am aware that the S&P 500 did see a bit of, I believe, relief here. Just look at the CNBC, kind of thing. And we're up 30. Okay, so not too much, not too much. A lot of flooding in Dubai. That was the big thing. Top 10 smartest cities. That's a little bit. Okay. And let's see here. So we want to. Yeah, I mean, that's Ethereum as of right now. We'll see what happens. Because I feel like you're going to get a lot of longs that potentially will open on this hidden bear div and on the trigger wave, on Bitcoin as well. So, that's what we got to keep in mind here. And just curious about some of these, such as helium, that's really, gone crazy down. Not looking, Some of these may give you what you need. I would imagine we'd test 350. We'll see what happens. ApeCoin making a good, a good jump up here. I like what I'm kind of seeing. Volatile as hell. I mean, you look at that low at $1, we're already up 32% almost. 5-day trigger wave forming. Similar to that one. You came down. I think we're going to have a good recovery here. That's what I'm thinking. I think we might have a good recovery. The other thing, let's see, that was, so in terms of inflation, I like to keep my eye on oil here. Choppy. There are arguments to make, especially on this weekly. I don't believe that's a true bear div, but it's still the same pattern where it rejected. So if you reject, you come down, you follow this general trajectory again, which oil, it's pretty boring. You might. And, ultimately come down to 64. That might be enough for the Fed to pivot. Now, we want to look at other inflationary marks too. And luckily, they look pretty decent on the bear case. Now, I know never bet against cattle, but that money flow coming down here potentially could give you something to the downside. Same on that 2-week. We're recovering a little bit. I know never bet against commodities, but if there's going to be a time where we finally reject here, that could be now. And then orange juice, obviously markers of inflation, starting to look more bearish on the 2-week. The most bearish we've looked at on the weekly since probably August of 22. Obviously, we went up higher. That was kind of a red herring. I think it won't be as forgiving this time. That's my guess here. For people screaming doomsday, screaming all that, I want you to look at the S&P 500 chart here, and this is against the money supply. We made a new high against money supply. We've extended kind of this trajectory upward. So the American economy, for the most part, is not that bad, at least not yet. We're hitting a significant point, I would argue, right here. That is a pretty significant point. That's a point you'd probably want to, if we zoom in here, I would say around those wicks. Let's draw that line right there because it's a pretty significant point around those highs. Price was stuck to that area, also stuck to that area in 2001. I know this is a hell of a long time ago, but yeah, and we're rejecting from that general area. How far do you come down here? I mean, following maybe a retest of those highs. Now, you retest those highs, assuming American economy is still generally pretty strong and unemployment doesn't, start skyrocketing too crazy. You would argue that, well, regardless of unemployment goes up, I take that back, but you would argue that this going down probably would also bring down commodities, also bring down inflation, probably enough to get the Fed to potentially pivot by the summer or in the summer. So yeah, Bonksman ripping. We'll take a look. So that's what I'm looking at. I think this area, this kind of pocket, yeah, let's draw that one too. You know, S&P 500 versus M2. This pocket is significant. And I think you'd probably, if you could retest that in the next few months, that would be a good signal for the Fed to potentially start to pivot. Because then you're kind of breaking your, you know, upward trajectory. You come back down there, you're not holding that. So yeah. Who knows if it would, you know, help that chart, but yeah. We also, I was just curious about like wheat. This one was the ETF there. Let's see. Interesting. Did that, wait a second. Oh, wow, that really dumped down. Yes, sir. Some of these commodities, no bueno. Silver, I still think gold and silver probably have a little bit, at least a little bit left. This could break upward, follow the trajectory of gold too. Or at least hit that target, yeah. Also, let's look at the Dixie, which I believe, yeah, has shown a bit of strength here. I'd probably argue that 2 week, the next red dot in the 2 week probably would be a good place to get in whenever that may happen. Because that could take time, yeah. Because right there, it was a pretty good signal. You came down a bit for the Dixie into December, and then you kind of recovered, you know, into this year. Trigger wave. That next trigger wave on the monthly as well to the downside, yeah. VWAP coming up there. Near, some of these do look decent. I'm curious about like, you know, Coinbase. I mean, some of these, they're hitting a big point. It's just the matter of can we hold this? And it kind of looks like we might not, just because it's so, these rare bearish signs here. It kind of feels like you have to feel more pain to really be done. Like it seems like this is kind of the, you know, it seems like you're only halfway done here, or maybe even slightly worse, just to be as objective as possible in these charts. I mean, you know, maybe some of these altcoins, will, yeah. ApeCoin too. I just want to look at, you know, some of the, yeah, they look, it's like they're recovering. Then you look at like the ETH and Bitcoin pairs and you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, man, up 33 though. And then we do see the actual NFTs recovering a bit. So not as bad as from that low, you're down 35% against Bitcoins. Not the worst possible thing. Just want to look at like AVAX because that's one that's looked atrocious on the weekly. Yeah. Starting to see that recovery. I think it's going to be make or break pretty soon. You're either going to recover back up to this area, $50, or you're going to roll over, and we're probably going to find that relatively soon. Hidden bull div right there. So if you're betting on that upward trajectory, funding rates would probably give you the more bull case, and that trigger wave too on the 4-day. Like there, it almost makes, yeah, it almost, there is that case to be made. It's a little bit, it's tough to say. I mean, I would argue if you think the S&P 500 is going to keep going down, I mean, crypto would likely follow. You know, it's, And then you do get those summer lulls. Typically May could be a more bearish month. So Bitcoin dominance coming down a little bit. I wanted to look at total 3 minus USDT versus Bitcoin. That does look kind of good. It's like those blood diamonds are kind of buy signals, which you could be bottoming out against Bitcoin for a lot of these alts. The thing is, though, their USD pair could still go down for a few months, but that's not the biggest issue. That would be the case to be DCAing right now. I mean, I personally have so much shit already that I kind of just stopped, like pre-halving. Like about a week ago was the last time I bought, so I'm just gonna hold. But on certain things, there are temptations to buy the dip. Let's see, bonk has been ripped. Let's see. Oh yeah, let's look at bonk. We'll look at bonk and then we'll look at some of. All right, let's try to find a chart with a little bit more data here. Yeah. I like the trigger wave, that continuation, potentially getting back up to that line. I think there could be some more upward potential. It is risky though. It's bonk. So yeah. Near, I looked at near briefly. It kind of looks good. I mean, it kind of, at least for the short term, it does look like you're only down a little bit. I mean, we had a good recovery so far here, 20% down. So yeah, I mean that dip was a good dip so far. But be careful. I mean, these larger macro bear, high anchor wave, excuse me, could play out some more and bring it back down to 3 something. So we'll see. We definitely have to see here. Yeah, let's look at Sol. Trigger wave. Hidden bear. Okay, so similar to ETH, hidden bull div there. It looks pretty good actually, for at least for the short term. It looks pretty good. It does look pretty good. The hourly, yeah. I mean, that doesn't tell us too much, but yeah, I do think, I mean, let's see. Obviously, okay, we're above VWAP. Yeah, you might be, if Bitcoin goes up to 69K, you could easily go up to 170 or something here. Yeah, I could look at, yeah, I've heard of this one. Can it see 10 cents? It could easily see 5 cents. Yeah, probably a 4 or 5x. I mean, a lot of them from where they are right now, I think can get that. At least at 3 to 4x. It looks decent. I don't know. I mean, there's some good trigger waves. You're either going to break downward and hit this area or break upward and probably get up to like 4 cents. I mean, it's either going to be one of those. Maybe the higher. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. It really depends on the way the market goes. Hard to say, man. Chainlink's a good one to probably look at, yeah. Let's see here. That's rejecting from, that's interesting, kind of rejecting from that area. Trigger wave forming on the 5-day, same with the weekly. How's the 2? Yeah, that 2 week was atrocious. Geez, that monthly, ugh, that may be a problem. I mean, this is probably, like I mentioned on ETH, this is like the first place where you could probably potentially estimate, some type of top, because you have the bear div on the 3 hour. And then, you're rejecting from VWAP. This could be a decent short opportunity. Let's look at this. You know, we could do. It's not the best risk reward ratio. Let's see here. Yeah, you could get a 9. I'm trying to think how you want to. 101 would be right there. I'm just trying to look at areas. Yeah, maybe something like that. You try to get back. You try to bet we're going to come back to like, you know, 14 something. A little freebie. Let me post this in the Discord. I want to post this one. That could be a good trade. I'm in a lot of trades. I don't know if I want to try to short Chainlink at the moment. Maybe I should though. You guys want me to? It'd be fun for the stream. Maybe I should. I think that is a pretty good setup right there. I mean, the 4-hour money flow is decent, so, but I still think it's probably a decent shot you come down here. So yeah. ETH Bitcoin bleeding a little bit more here. So we'll see if we, you know, break down or if this is kind of the bottom here. I mean, that 4-day looks good because you got the money flow starting to curve around. So 4-day, not bad. 5-day, decent. Weekly, we'd probably want to wait for that, or really the 2-week we want. That bull div would be a high confidence sign, similar to, you know, back there. And this takes its time because that red dot was in March. I mean, that damn takes its time, you know, right there. That's where I would probably argue. That's what I'm kind of looking for, guys, because, you know, look here. When does this happen? June? A lot of signs point to June being the place to get back in, to, well, not really, to really get in. You know what I mean? That would probably be the last chance, then hold for a year for long-term capital gains. And then you probably have, let's say, at least a 3 to 4x on a lot of altcoins. For Ethereum, maybe a 3x if you're down to like 2,500, down to 2,400. Okay, maybe a 4x if you think we're going to 10K. But a lot of other alts, you know, potentially those higher numbers. So I have to look at Cardano. Let's take a little look-see at Cardano here. Breaking above that area does look pretty good. 50 cents, we're breaking above that area. So, and then you have a hidden, no, not a hidden bull div. Do you have a hidden bull div forming? No, not even. Trigger waves and stuff. Yeah, trigger wave potential on the weekly. So that does look decent. I want to look at Cardano ETH. I know that made like some lower. No, okay. That's actually a pretty. That does look pretty good. Yeah, Cardano ETH does look pretty good. Let me actually look at that on a different, that chart doesn't have too much. Here we go. Yeah, that area. So if you're going to buy, if you're choosing between Cardano and ETH right now, I would probably go Cardano. Probably go Commando. About Cardano Bitcoin. And that's where it gets a little more. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think if like, you know, Cardano Bitcoin, it's looking decent as well. Cardano does look decent. I want to look at AVAX. Let's see, because if we're AVAX ETH, yeah, that could be also, could also be something there. AVAX, how about AVAX BTC? Decent, yeah. It does look, I mean, it's on a little bit of thin ice, but it does look like for some of these. I mean, I think the ETH Cardano trade, like honestly, like that I'm trying to think, like, if you have Ethereum, like trying to outperform Ethereum right now, like the ETH Cardano trade, I feel like is a pretty safe bet. You know, this also looks decent. Link ETH, that's, yeah, it's hitting that point right there. I just want to look at Link BTC. That point right there. Link looks decent against on its Bitcoin pair, yeah. Cardano, I feel like in terms of a larger market cap, safer bet right now, Cardano is a good one, I think. Like Cardano is a good bet, I think. You know, just looking at, you know, ETH and Bitcoin evaluations, just trying to outperform ETH and Bitcoin, Cardano, I think you got a good shot here. I think it's kind of fallen asleep, you know, a little bit, but because you had your, let's see, we were up to 80 cents. Now you're at 50. It's still a 30% discount, 36% discount. You're still down, let's see, from all-time highs, you're still down about, you know, 83%. Cardano is a good buy, I think. Cardano is a pretty good buy right now at these levels, I think. I've never collected, I've never heard. I think you would need the Fed to pivot for these to really see another run up. There's probably some people still holding on to some of these. I would wait till probably at least a weekly bull div. Really, maybe a 2-week bull div. It might recover into the end of the year. I mean, they might file bankruptcy, right? It could get delisted eventually, right? Isn't Bed Bath & Beyond delisted? Like, isn't... Like, let's see here. Does this still trade? Yeah, it's delisted. Yeah, it's not even... When was the last? April, yeah. It could end up like that, right? I mean, I feel like GameStop would probably take longer to go bankrupt, right? I mean, this is a big area. I would imagine GameStop would probably fight back if AMC does, you know what I mean? I don't know. And by the way, guys, if you're just tuning in, if you want one free month in the Aldo Empire Discord, where I give pretty much all these trade entries in advance, I tag everyone, entry point, stop losses, take profits. Really good community. Sometimes you could talk to me. Excuse me. Sometimes you could talk to me in the chats that I do. Link in description below if you want one free month. If you deposit, sign up with my link to any of the exchanges down below. Deposit at least $100. I'll give you one free month in the Discord. Just open a support ticket with your UID. All right. So yeah, let's see. Ape got 30 years still looks like it'll come up a little bit more. The thing here is I feel like the 2-week will kind of give us what we need with that overheated money. And I think probably after this monthly confirms, you may get red after that. It's potentially seeing it come down. That would be my guess if inflation starts to come back down. I don't know if it will, though. TLT, I think this should bounce. Maybe not yet. Maybe not yet, but I think it should. Right here is a significant point. Now, let's see. Are we reacting to that? I wouldn't say you lost it yet, but I don't think it's the most, most promising thing. It is a fib level, but yeah. bonk we looked at. I'm hesitant. Hesitant. Tesla, let's see. I mean, that's, let's see, down from all-time high. You're probably, yeah, you're down 66%. Same as some altcoins. Still not seeing a clear bottom for this, but when would you get in? Yeah, that money flow. The 2-week money flow starting to curve back up would probably give you what you need. 3-week anchor, yeah, because the last time we saw the 3-week in the red here, and you got that anchor wave, that was a really good bottom signal. So maybe like 2019 with much diminished returns. Now, I think there's some good fundamentals for Tesla in the sense that you can get, you could lease a Tesla very cheaply. I think you could lease like a Model Y, which is, I think that's the safest car out there. Well, probably one of the, in terms of just a reliable, vehicle to drive for day to day, and something that could, drives nice, that autopilot, all that. You could lease that, I think 400 or 500 a month. I think that's after the tax savings or whatever, but you lease that thing, that's after probably gas savings too, but it's still a pretty good deal. And I think they're going to start to sell more of those as well, so yeah. What's up, Flopping Groper? Thanks again for having me on. Had a great discussion with Nick Cypher, also known as Flopping Groper. Check it out on the Market Cypher channel or on Nick Cypher's channel. Really great discussion. A lot of good trading tips there. Buying memes on base. I don't even know what is base. Oh, the other one too. I just wanted to look at this. Kind of follows the. So we are recovering a bit for mutant apes, for apes in general, which is a pretty good sign. I mean, they got a nice bump on their ETH pair. It's now up to, I believe, let's go on CoinGecko here, and we can look at NFT floor prices. Okay, so about $7,000 a pop. So this looks like a nice bubble pop pattern, kind of. The only problem is you lost like this big area at like 3 ETH, but you're down 94%, so it's deep value. It's deep value if you're going to bet that this is going to come back, which it might. The other thing too is if we look at like OpenSea as well, I think they were even higher there. It takes a minute to kind of reflect on CoinGecko. Yeah, 2.3, yeah, 7,600. So that's a nice jump. That's a nice jump. And now if we could just double that ETH evaluation, get back up to 5 ETH, that'd be pretty juicy. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of juicy there. I just want to look at one last time. What really intrigued me was the Cardano ETH chart, because we're trying to find, things that are going to outperform Ethereum, because that's where you could get those sick gains potentially. I think Cardano could be one of them right now. Yeah, man, I like this Cardano chart. Cardano ETH, guys, higher low right there. That's a nice pocket too. Like if we wanted to just look at those wicks right there, like that's a nice, and buyers defended that area. So, I mean, it depends what you think about Cardano, but what is this down on ETH to? 82%. So, I mean, depends what your view is on Cardano, but I think you might have a shot here, especially if that 2 week comes up. Yeah. Because, I mean, let's see. How much could this outperform ETH if you were to... I mean, that's almost 100% right there. So if you get a 2 or 3x with ETH from now, that's 100%. To double that would be a 6x. So let's say you get a 6x with... So I'm going to look at the Cardano chart. Let's say we get a 6x from where we are right now to the top. I don't know if it's going to be that much. Maybe it'll be less. Maybe more. Who knows? That's a nice new all-time high. So 5 to 10x, I would say, for Cardano from where we are right now, potentially 5 to 10x. I would probably start scaling out around $3 because I'm a nervous wreck, but I don't know, too conservative or whatever some may say. But yeah, if we look at like Ape ETH right here, yeah, just that no man's land type of situation. But yeah, like I mentioned, I mean that 2 week we'd look for 2 week bull div. So yeah. Just like out of curiosity, like AVAX USD versus ADA USD, like just okay, yeah, I'd rather go with Cardano right now. The other one, obviously, you guys know I like crypto.com. I mean, starting to see a bit of a recovery there. CRO versus ETH. Yeah. Really not. I mean, this looks decent, but really nothing looks as good against ETH right now as that Cardano pair, I would say. That Cardano pair is good. You know what I mean? Like that. Show you guys what's going on here. Are we coming down a little bit? It looks like we are. Yeah, that's not working. Okay. And so yeah. Let's look at this SPY. Oops. So if we look at, yeah, so we had that drop down 2 week. Just look at the 2 week red hike in Ashies, what normally happens. So yeah, once you get a couple, usually you get some type of I mean, we haven't had anything below the zero line in a while here. That was a nice false positive there. And that trigger. You might have to wait for that next one, kind of. That was, yeah, right there, deep anchor. You made a lower low. Yeah. The other thing, too, I wanted to look at versus NASDAQ. That's interesting. Yeah, because you're like, if you wanted to decide here, you're trying to fight back against the NASDAQ. Big area from 2020. I don't know what's gonna, not sure exactly what's gonna happen there. Let's just look at the NASDAQ itself. I mean, yeah. I mean, you got a little jump up today, but nothing too, nothing too significant. And I want to just let's look at the Fed. I just want to see if those odds are changing because those odds have been a little bit volatile lately. I think it was 60-40 for, okay, so we know May is not going to be, I feel like he won't sound as hawkish in May. And then based on what he says, this odds may go up. So July was 60. Yeah, it's about 60-40. Yeah, it's not going to be that low. It's 60-40 essentially, let's say. Obviously these 5% odds you could add is probably, 60-40, let's say. That could turn over. That could turn over. The favorite is in September right now. So that could turn over assuming things, kind of continue to go down. And yeah, we're just looking at that point. Let's see what's happening right now. Yeah, like I mentioned, guys, first place that could potentially go down is here. That's the first place. Yeah. So maybe we see, maybe this is the end of our little fun journey. Let's look at crypto funding rates. They're probably still, I feel like there's still probably a little bit more negative, yeah. So that would be indicative of coming up higher, but that's not always, obviously not always right. So yeah. But man, I kind of want to buy some Cardano. Probably get a, yeah, or convert some ETH over. I may convert some ETH over into Cardano, bet on that. For September, that got a big jump. I mean, if you could repeat this, that's 100%. Like if you could repeat that, Cardano is gonna do something here. Let's see. This is, yeah, I mean, that's kind of no man's land. XRP Bitcoin has looked better than XRP ETH. Yeah, historically looked better, but I still wouldn't mess with it. I think Cardano is a much better choice. Oh yeah, we haven't looked at Matic. Let's take a look at Matic. Like everything else, similar to a lot of other things, I want to look at really the Bitcoin pair and the ETH pair. Decent area. I mean, even if you do crash down farther to, let's say, I mean, it could be kind of ugly. It could be 50%. I don't think that's going to happen though, honestly, because you're getting those yellow X's that you want, and then you're getting that sell exhaustion a little bit, I would say, with the deep anchor waves. So this could be a good, yeah, this could be like a good area. Let's look at Matic ETH. I think that was like a little bit, ooh, no, that was just straight down. But yeah, here was a little bit better because, well, let me just, yeah, it depends how you look at it. Yeah, it's a little bit, but that's a big area. Let's just draw that out right there. You know, that's a hell of a large area right there where price likes to stick. And Matic ETH, I think, Matic ETH could be a good area. Definitely a good buy here. I want to look at, I mean, this is an interesting pair, custom thing, but Matic Cardano. I feel like it could bleed against Cardano a little bit. It'll probably bottom out against Cardano there, but ETH to Cardano, I think, is the main kind of trade right now. You know, any type of trade like ETH to Cardano, I kind of like. I think Cardano could do pretty well. So yeah. Let's look at Theta. Yeah, this is starting to creep back up here. Big air, a lot of things are hitting big areas, so it's a moment of truth to a certain extent. Can we pump above this area? Kind of looks like no, but I don't know. That was Theta, and then XPRT, a smaller cap that we'd like to look at. Yeah, it's the thing. Nice jump off of there. Back up to 30 cents. I mean, you know, your very macro area looks good. You know, that's why I'm not seeing, you know, I'm not seeing us really come down much more than, you know, much more than a few months. You know, I don't see us having much more than like 2 or 3 bearish months here. Red dot in that monthly. But I do like Mutant. You know, this coming back is a good sign. I mean, it did make a lower low, but it's above that area right there, which is good. That's what I kind of like here. That's what I like. Anyway, guys. Oh, what's up, Raz LSU? Didn't see you there. Shout out to Raz LSU. Trying to think here. We've been on about 50 minutes. There's not too much else to really talk about at the moment. We did cover a lot today. I want to look at just the Warren Buffett one in terms of oil. Just curious because that's obviously gonna, yeah, just nothing really happening. I mean, we kind of want, I mean, this one doesn't matter. But we kind of want oil in general to go down to be good for, you know, increasing the odds of a Fed pivoting. That's hard to say. It's hard to say. The other, like, what's the other one everybody likes to look at? I mean, the crude oil, that's, you can't really, yeah. It looks similar to the USO. I mean, that is a head. I mean, head and shoulders is probably the worst possible pattern to trade off of, but that is a head and shoulders. That is a, it would be a downward trajectory. That 2-week doesn't look too good. So, like I mentioned, as long as if these can come down, you're putting pressure off of the Fed and making the Fed more comfortable in pivoting earlier, especially if traditional markets come down as well. So yeah, just curious about like Apple, if that's, okay, so generally continuing the downward trajectory. Yeah, that didn't work out on that weekly. So we're probably going to have to wait till the weekly gets in the red here. This would be the trajectory to potentially come down to all the way back to August 21 numbers. Do you see a Fed pivoting if Apple is at August 21 numbers? Potentially, yes, I do. When can you get to August 21 numbers? Let's see. June or July. So there's potentially still that pivot on the table, probably for July, maybe June. Those odds would really have to change for June, though. That monthly is atrocious as well. You may get another kind of trigger wave or something on that monthly. The 2-week trigger could give you what you need, but that could take time to even get there. Weekly, maybe a bull div you could see in June. A lot of roads point to June right now, especially for traditional markets. Did look at gold and silver. I think they'll come up a bit more. Those are kind of slow and boring, but I do think silver could break upward, Marco. So yeah. Curious about, let's just look at the silver Bitcoin pair. I think that was interesting. Yeah. Because like I don't know. I mean, it's, you came up against Bitcoin there. Maybe you repeat that to a certain extent. Yeah, it could start to outperform it a bit. How about silver NASDAQ? Yeah, I mean, generally just keeps bleeding against it, but that's such a big area right there. And then you're bouncing. So yeah, I would argue it probably would outperform TradFi, S&P 500, NASDAQ for a couple months at least. They're correcting, I think. Yeah, they're breaking downward a little bit. I mean, that's expected. It came up. So yeah. And then ETH, yeah, all these are kind of breaking down as well. So yeah, I mean, I gave you guys a nice trade setup on the link, on Chainlink. I think that'll play out probably pretty well. Yeah. That's that main short that I think will play out well. Probably could still. Yeah, let's just see here. I might take this, but I'll announce it to the Discord if I do. I'm not gonna give everything, for completely free here. But right to that wick, probably I would go. See that wick right there? That would be the setup. That would be a setup. Anyway, guys, I'm probably gonna get going. If you guys want to check out the Discord, where we give a lot of really great trade setups. I got CBZ in there, KMAC in there. May get like one other analyst in there or something at some point. Really great community. I'm the only one who actually posts like the actual entry points, stop losses, take profits. So if you're interested, check it out. If you want one free month in the Discord, if you guys sign up to the exchanges, any exchanges down below with my link, deposit at least $100, I will give you one free month in the Discord. Just open a support ticket with your UID. So yeah, really excited to see you guys in there. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, always appreciate that. Not too much else to look at right now. I'm gonna get going. So yeah, I will see you